Okay, here we are. Now, hello, I'm Dario Fracassetti from Alessandro Lavazzi and Sergio's practice. What I want to show you today is the SAT transaction. SAT stands for ABAP Runtime. It is the new transaction that will replace the dear old SC30 transaction. And it's available since the release 702 on the SAC systems, and introduce a lot of new interesting features. For example, the difference between the SAT and the SE30, it's the import and export functionalities. It's really astonishing because the SAT doesn't save a trace file on the application server, but store all the trace information in a database table. This means that you can store the trace for all the time you want, and not like the SE30, that in 1 week all the trace files were deleted by a retention period very strictly. For example, now, this is a pretty cool feature. Here we have two systems, one on the left and one on the right. We can export a measurement in two ways. One is by a RFC destination. You can set the RFC destination of your system, and by pressing the OK button, you can send it directly without doing anything, just configure an RFC destination. Instead, you can extract the XML file and re-import in the system. You can save it. Okay. We go to the other system. By the Evaluate tab, you can import in the system the trace file. Here we have to remove the filter to see all the user trace. Import functionalities. We select the XML, and here it is. So we can now check this measurement also in another system. This can be seen as small functionalities, but try to think to extract from the production environment a trace, import in the quality system, and compare them. So it introduced the second very cool functionalities, that is the compare. The SAT transaction permits you to select more than one trace and compare it together. Here we have two trace files. We select both and compare. Here you can see the two traces separated by the number with a date, user, name of a program. Here you have the ratio between the two and the first. The time split, so you can see the difference. The color and all the other information reachable by double clicking. You can, for example, select a line and go to the ABAP source code. You can see events, program, the color, the time, the memory consumption, the internal table name. It's another very cool feature. You can directly see in the trace file the name of a table you have read or modified. Here you can see the events. In every sheet you see, you can see the difference between the first measurement and the second. And I think this is very cool because the same program can run in a different way, for example, in different application servers. Another cool, very interesting feature is the measurement of a background execution. The measurement of a background execution is activated by selecting a job that is running in the background. For example, we run this job. It's very simple. We do pretty anything. We run it for 5 times, 50 times in background in immediate execution. Now from the SAT transaction we can catch it with the button switch on off in parallel section. Here you can see all the process running on this application server. This is the hour. We activate the trace. As you can see, there is a yellow triangle. We stop the trace. You can trace all you want. We go to the Evaluate tab and we see that we have our background section recorded and ready to be analyzed. And as you can see, is pretty the same as the previous example I made. You have the hit list, the DB table used, the profile tool, the times, the memory consumption. I think this is a great feature, so you can catch pretty error. The last things, very fast, is how to create variant to use the SAT. What is variant in SAT? You can set a variant to analyze, to decide what to analyze. For example, I create a variant, and here I can specify which part of the program I want, if I want to aggregate the result, if I want the memory use, to measure the memory use, if I want to check some particular statement. Here is the aggregation. We set none, so we can check the memory. Here we have a statement tab, so we can check if you want method, read internal table, change operation. We can select all, nothing, or only part of them. And also the program component. No limitation. If I want to limit it to the hotspot monitor, if I want some particular component, for example, a program, a method, or subroutine particular. In this case, no limitation on the measurement. You have to save it and just run the execution. Here we use our dear old test program. Okay, ended. This is an example of the double call with the aggregation. We reuse the same program with 5 executions. So here is the result, and you can compare them. You can see the part of the program, submit, the time consumption, the memory. And this is the aggregated result. As you can see, the list is more wider. You can use the profile tool to see precisely every instance and every instruction, how many times it has consumed. And that's all. I want to say that on Athena there is the page dedicated with this video and some other cool things. Thanks.
Okay.